Welcome to the FTD webinar titled AI Basics for Busy Florists. We are excited to welcome today's featured presenter, Cameron Pappas, owner of Norton's Florist in Birmingham, Alabama. We have two quick housekeeping notes before we get started. First, check out the handout section on your GoToWebinar control panel, and you can download a PDF of today's presentation and other resources. And second, Cameron will be answering questions at the end of the webinar. Simply type your questions in the question box in the control panel. So let's get started and welcome Cameron.
Hey everybody, how are y'all doing today? First off, just want to thank FTD and the Mercury Network for the invitation to be a part of this and to share some of the fun things that I've discovered with AI over the last couple of years. So like Emily said, I'm Cameron Pappas. I'm Norton's Florist in Birmingham, Alabama, and I want everybody to know this is not going to be a technical presentation. I'm a working florist who happens to use AI every single day in my work life and in my personal life. I can't tell you how many times I ask it, what do I do to my tomato plants that are growing outside, and do I water them, or should I give them more water, or what do I need to do? So the biggest thing here, if you can describe a problem out loud, then you can use these tools. It's not hard. They've made it more and more simple for us to use every single day. So what we're going to leave with today is going to be specific use cases. We're going to have a 4-part prompt formula. That's going to be the big thing that I want everybody to take away. And I'll point out that slide when we get to it. And then I'm going to give you an action plan and some steps to take going forward. There will be a Q&A at the end, as Emily said, but I've got the questions up on my screen, and if I see a question that seems pertinent to what we're talking about and I don't need to answer it at the end, then I'll address it as we go through. So, all right, let's get started. So, as I said, Cameron Pappas. I studied accounting at Auburn University, War Eagle. I graduated in 2011 with my accounting degree, and then I got a master's in accounting and graduated in 2012. And I practiced as a CPA from 2012 to 2015. And now, since 2015, I've been a professional small business firefighter, as many of you are. Like I said, I'm not a tech person. I'm an Excel wizard. I like to tell people that I'm an Excel wizard. I love Excel, and I love figuring out problems and formulas, and that sort of came with my accounting degree. But I'm just like most of y'all, where I'm running a shop. I'm juggling drivers, designers, putting out fires. I've got 36 employees, I believe. We have 2 locations. I've been at Norton since 2015. My dad bought the business from the Norton family in 2002. We've been in business since 1921. And so the Pappas family has had it for 24 years now. Gosh, that's crazy. And I've been involved for about 11 years. All right, so what we're going to cover today, we're going to cover what it is, AI in plain English, where it helps, how to use it, and where to start. And like I said on the last slide, if you remember one thing today, I want you to remember the prompt formula in part 3. That's the difference between AI being completely useless and AI being the best assistant that you could ever have. All right, so let's talk about AI. Before we get into the practical stuff, let's clear up what it actually is and what it isn't. So we're going to start with a poll, and Emily, I believe that you have a poll that you can you've got the poll set up to share. Let's see. And I might, well, let's see if I can find it really quick. There it is. So do y'all see I hope everybody sees the poll. Perfect. So have you never used it before? Have you tried it once, or do you use it regularly? And no judgment here. We've all been in the never used it category. I was there, 2 years ago? I think when I was creating this presentation, I I looked back at like when my first conversation was, and it said 2024, I believe. So we're all pretty new to it. All right, so that's cool. I see, we've got, I don't know if y'all can see the results, but it looks like there's 14 of you. Most people have used it regularly, and then some people have never used it. Some people have tried it once or twice. So I'm excited to see that y'all are using it regularly. That's great, and I hope that what we do today can help you to use it more efficiently and get more out of it than you already are. All right, so let's get into it. So the biggest myth about AI, we think that, oh, AI is going to replace everybody. It's replacing employees and it's the end of the world and all that stuff. It's not. It is not. What it does, if you look right here, what it does well: thinking, planning, organizing, communicating. It's all of the side stuff that pulls us away from doing what we love. I know I'm not a designer personally. I can make a dozen roses if you make me do it, but you put a sympathy stand in front of me, I'm toast. I might be able to green it with Robolini, and but that's about it. So what it doesn't replace, though: creativity, which most of you probably have, relationships, design, and talent. So the real reason why people walk into a flower shop, I tell people, I'm like, nobody walks into Norton's because I make great spreadsheets, and I make some really killer spreadsheets, but they walk into Norton's Florist because of how we make them feel. And AI can't do that. It can give me back the hours, though, to focus on helping the customer feel the impact of what we do every single day. So the big point here is that it's going to handle the busy work so that we can focus on what we love. So what I want you to do, I want you to just imagine if you had an intern who has read most of the internet, never sleeps, never complains, and works for pennies on the dollar. That's basically what these AI tools are. So what I love to use it for, these 5 things: brainstorming. There is nothing like sitting down and just brainstorming with AI, generating ideas when you have no idea where to start. Writing, it can help you draft anything from a card message to a job description to a product description. We're going to cover some of that in this presentation. Can help you organize. A lot of times I just will literally start talking and say, I need to make a to-do list. And you can just rattle off stuff and it'll help you create a list, build a checklist. And a lot of times I take notes, and I have chicken scratch handwriting, and I can spit it out, and it'll give some structure to my notes, help me plan for a holiday or a busy week. Obviously, Valentine's Day, Mother's Day, Christmas are the big 3 where we want to use that. But we've also used it. We've used it this week for our planning for the 4th of July. We obviously have this big America 250 coming up. It's a big deal, and I think we've got, as florists, we have an opportunity to really make this more of a holiday than it is in the past. And it's not, for us, it's not really been that big of a holiday, but we're hoping that we can make it into something this year. And then also research. Obviously, it's very good at research. Like I said, it's read the entire internet, so it is incredible for just any sort of research that you could possibly want to do. But the biggest thing here, at the very bottom here, it still needs your judgment, your voice, and your final yes. So who are the players? I know most of you guys know who the general players in AI are. You've got, and it's sort of, I made this slide because it can be kind of confusing. So you've got OpenAI, that's the company who has ChatGPT as their AI platform. Anthropic, Claude. Google uses Gemini, and then XAI, which is Twitter, and Elon Musk and all that. That's going to be Grok. So I'm not going to stay here too long, but Just personally, I have never used Grok. I've never logged into it, and so I can't really speak too much on it. However, Norton's operates on Google Workspace, but I'm not the biggest fan of Gemini. I think that sometimes, and it might just be that the use cases that I've tried to use it for haven't been the best use cases that I've tried. But I'm a religious ChatGPT user and a religious Claude user. I use chat a lot for sort of my brainstorming, but then when I'm getting into planning or developing spreadsheets or having it build spreadsheets, do planning, I lean into Claude. And I also listed the price points underneath here. And I went to an Anthropic presentation last Friday, and the question was asked. They came and gave a presentation about Claude for small business. It's a little skill set that they have. And somebody asked about needing a Max or a Pro account in any of the platforms. And they actually said that for most of our use cases, the $20 a month version is going to get us more than we could ever need. I have a $100 subscription to Claude, but that's because I've sort of gotten into the code writing with Claude. We're not really going to touch on much of that today. But like I said, 2 years ago, I had my first conversation with AI, and it's just sort of grown into this tool that I've learned to use, and I don't know anything about coding at all, but it's been really fascinating to see what it can do and how it can help me. So really what you're looking at it is a $20 a month assistant rather than a $15 to $20 an hour assistant that never sleeps and knows the entire internet. So in the floral industry, where I have seen it used personally, biggest instance that I've seen recently is Society of American Florists. I'm on the board of directors for SAF, and so they recently released Ask Aster. So if you're a member of SAF, then if you've been to the website recently, Aster pops up as soon as you go to the website, and you can log in. And what Aster does is, what's cool about Aster is that it's a comprehensive tool that searches the entire SAF database for information. So anything that's been presented by SAF, any materials that are on the SAF website or in their library, you can find very easily. I think it's a great tool for floral specific things. I spoke with my representative from Comet Sales last week, and he said that they're starting to integrate a lot of AI reporting into Comet Sales. My website, I currently use Gravity Free, the Flower Manager website, and I've spoken with the developers, and they're trying to integrate AI as much as they can. Flower Buddy is an event planning software. They have an event planning software as well as a retail planning software that have both been essentially built on an OpenAI ChatGPT platform. And ChatGPT is integrated all throughout Flower Buddy. It's really cool. You can literally create a recipe and it can generate an image for you. Sorry, I talk with my hands. So, but you can generate an image in seconds with a recipe, and it's really cool just to give your designers or yourself an idea of what an arrangement might look like, and you can tweak it before you actually design it and take a picture of it to put on your website. And then also FTD. While I am a member of FTD, I'm not on the Mercury Online web platform, but from what I've heard from the team at FTD, they've really worked to integrate a lot into the MOL experience for users. So, like I said, it still needs your judgment, though. So, as a florist, as a small business owner, we make hundreds of decisions every single day. We're all in it. People don't understand how much we do and how our brains work in a day. And as a ADHD dad of two, I am just my brain is all over the place. I wear 12 different hats. Like I said, I'm a professional firefighter. So a day in the life, we're pricing arrangements, we're figuring out staffing and schedules and naming arrangements, creating social media posts, answering customer service emails, figuring out production plans, planning for holidays, looking for new vendors. And there's just tons and tons of micro decisions that we have to make every single day. And I don't know how y'all feel, but that feeling on a Tuesday, and it's a Tuesday right now, isn't it? So, and it's the end of the day on a Tuesday, your brain might feel like a big pile of mush. So every single one of these cost energy, and they take energy out of your brain, energy out of your passion, and time away from your family. So that's where AI comes in. It doesn't make the decision for you, but it can really do the first 90% of the thinking so that all you have to do is make the final call. So now I'm going to get into a few cases of where I use AI at Norton's Florist every single day. All right. So there's going to be a lot of information on the screen. It'll be available to you, and you'll also see in the handouts, I've got all 6 of these use cases in the handouts so that you guys can use them and learn from them and study them later, or even drop them into AI and ask it to summarize it for you. So the first one we're going to use is product descriptions. So how many times, and I did, oh my gosh, I can't think about this, like 2 years ago, I would stare at the screen when I'm typing a product description, and I'm like, what do I say about this arrangement? And I just sit there and stare for 20 minutes trying to figure out what to say. AI handles that for you. So what I'm going to do is each one of these cases, I'm going to sort of go through the prompt, and I'm going to point out these 4 points that we want to touch on when we're writing a prompt. And so the first one is the who. So in this prompt, I say, I own a retail flower shop in Birmingham, Alabama. I'm telling it who I am. I want to write a heartfelt description for an arrangement called Debbie's Delight. It features purple hydrangea, lavender roses, purple stock veronica, and sword fern, and a white ceramic cylinder. It's our September Charity in Bloom piece, and we donate $15 of every purchase to Alzheimer's and Dementia Research through the Walk to End Alzheimer's. Keep it elegant, passionate, and community focused. So you saw what I said. I told it what the product description was. I'm writing a description for Debbie's Delight, giving it the context, what flowers are in it, what container is it. I want to share the charity tie. And this one is near and dear to my heart. My mom passed away in 2021 from Alzheimer's. She had early onset Alzheimer's, and she passed away. And this arrangement was actually sort of the beginning of our Charity in Bloom program. And now we offer a Charity in Bloom program where we donate $15 every month, $15 of every arrangement every month to a charity that's near and dear to our hearts. So I actually have a sort of a live, I've got my ChatGPT pulled up, and I'm going to see if I can share it seamlessly and show you guys. I've typed this prompt into my chat, and we're gonna see if I can make this work real quick. Let's see. Give me just a sec. Of course, it disappears on me. All right. So, sorry. Where did it go? Oh, screens. There we go. All right. I'm going to share that. All right. So I hope you guys see my ChatGPT screen. So I've got my prompt. I've already copy and pasted it in here, and I'm just going to hit send the prompt. And here we go. And just like that, it's written me this simple prompt, this simple product description. And I'm going to say, this might look a little bit too long, so let's shorten it to no more than 3 sentences. And boom, I'm still able to get that emotional appeal across, still getting the point of making this donation and supporting the Walk to End Alzheimer's and community involvement. all in seconds. So I'm not going to do the live example with every single with everything, but I wanted to take an opportunity and show that to you guys, just how simple it is. And now you even have the ability to just talk to it. Like you can push a button and just run your mouth. If you're on the webinar and you know me personally, you know that I am a motor mouth. I can talk to a brick wall. I've never met a stranger in my life. So, and AI has definitely not been a stranger to me. It's now my best friend, one of my best friends. So social media planning. This is something that is always something that we dread doing. I see social media. I tell people all the time, I'm like, it's a necessary evil, and everybody that talks to you about it, you have to be consistent. It's not about what you post. You just have to be consistent and keep posting. And it doesn't have to be perfect. It doesn't have to be pretty. You just got to be posting. So, you can go through and you can have it create a monthly content calendar. You can brainstorm ideas for post. You can plan a seasonal campaign. You can plan out your whole Valentine's Day or Mother's Day posting schedule, and you can even connect it to your Google and put it into a Google Calendar for you so that you know what to post. So over here in this prompt, I said, I'm just going to keep going through these 4 points, right? These 4 points of the prompt. So who you are, what you need, context, and tone and style. So if you read this prompt, you'll see, who am I? I run a retail flower shop. What do I need? A recurring monthly social media content calendar. What do I want? A mix of product posts, behind the scenes videos, flower care tips, community involvement, holiday reminders, and then the tone and style. Keep the voice friendly and local, not corporate. Obviously, most of us are not, we pride ourselves in not being a big corporate organization. We pride ourselves in being family-owned businesses that are very involved in our communities. I think that, in my opinion, a lot of times florists, especially the ones that have been in the community for a long time, we have a duty to be highly involved in our communities. And I think that customers appreciate that. So, you can do this once a month. You can spend an hour and end up with a social media platform, a social media campaign for the month. Now, the kicker here, it can create it for you, but you've still got to take what it creates and you've got to put it in and use it, right? So you still have to give it your personal touch to make it what it is. You have to make it impactful to the viewer of your content. But and as time goes on, this stuff is accelerating so quickly. I've been getting targeted on Instagram for some new company that literally can make 50 social media posts out of one picture that you send it. And I'm like, dadgum, like it's just getting wild out there. It's really cool though. It's great tools for us to be able to utilize. Holiday and production planning. Just last week, I was on an SAF call this morning on a next gen coffee talk webinar that we had, and we were talking about planning. What do we do during the summer to get ahead when we slow down? So just last week, my GM Dana and I, we uploaded our Valentine's Day and our Mother's Day ticket reports out of Mercury. I literally ran a ticket report, uploaded it, and I said, give me a breakdown of, just analyze this data, do a full analysis of this data. And we were able to figure out which price points sold best. And then we literally were able to place our pre-books for Valentine's Day and Mother's Day for the first time ever. We placed our pre-books in June of 2026 for shipment in early 2027. So, and now we know what containers we have. It streamlines this planning. And I told Dana, I was like, it's amazing. I used to spend hours presenting not presenting, but formatting all of this data so that we could figure out what our collection was going to be. And, we'll go in and we're going to talk to it about what trends are happening right now. What do we think? What does it think that the trends are going to be in Valentine's Day next year? And I think when you go to, if you go to the SAF convention in August, then you're going to have a presentation all about the trends, the upcoming floral trends. And I always tell Dana, I'm like, that's not one of my favorite presentations. Like, I'm more in the business presentations, but you can take what you learn and drop it in here, and it's going to help you out. And I mean, we use it just start to finish. Planning a holiday, we have it create, day by day, hour by hour planning. Tells us, how many people we might need, and we give it some information and ask it question, and it'll ask us questions. We answer it, and it helps us to create that plan to just make the holiday go as smooth as possible. Once again, who are you, what you need, context, tone, and style. So customer communication. We had an incident yesterday where a customer got very upset with us, upset with one of my salespeople because she couldn't give him a price right on the spot. And immediately my GM was like, we're going to get into chat and we're going to create a script for this on how to respond to that customer when we don't know exactly what the price of what they want is. And then we're going to have a way for them to respond immediately. We've already put it into place, how they can respond, and the procedure of how we're going to get back in touch with that customer and make sure that we serve them to the best of our ability. So I have used it in some cases. I've used it to craft a communication with a customer. And if you have a late delivery and an upset customer in an email, if you struggle with coming up with the words to say, you can just ask ChatGPT or Claude or whoever, and they can help you. It can help you to formulate a response. And obviously you want to give it your personal touch, like always. So I think we delivered this. So this is an example of an anniversary arrangement that we delivered a day late because we made a mistake internally. So I own a retail flower shop. Who are you? What do you need? I need an email reply to an unhappy customer whose arrangement was delivered a day late. We want to acknowledge the context. We want to acknowledge a mistake. We want to apologize sincerely, and we want to make it right without over-explaining. We want to keep it warm and human and not corporate. So it's going to spit out an answer to you, and then you can massage it and make it the way that you make it in your voice, not so robotic. And then send it to the customer and handle it that way. So I think it's great for, a lot of people. I can't tell you how many times I'm on the phone with somebody and they don't know how to respond, what to send a sympathy card. And it allows you to offer the customer something better than with deepest sympathy, Cameron Pappas and the Norton's Florist family, right? That's the stereotypical response, but we're able to serve customers better by giving them a much better and thorough card description or card message. So this is a big one for us. So SOPs and training. There are several platforms out there. There's one particularly that I love using, and it's called Loom, Loom. I did not put a link to it on the presentation or the handout, but what Loom does is a screen recorder. So I can literally, like I said, I love to talk, and I'm not very good at teaching people things, but I'm really good at explaining it while I do it. So I use Loom, and I think it's $20 a month, like everything else. And I can go through a process, and it records my screen and then transcribes it and creates an SOP for me. And we've used chat to help us. We've just described what a position is, what we need a position to do, or if we've created a new position, and we have just had it develop an SOP for us. And then a lot of times what it'll do is it's going to point out things that you may not have thought of, right? Like, it's reading the whole internet, and any sort of things that come up that you might want to touch on, it's going to think about those, and it catches that and spits it out. So you can literally turn rough ideas into clear step-by-step SOPs. You can build training tools. We built a new sales training platform, not a platform, a new sales training like catalog and script for our team based on sort of what it has described. And once again, we went in, and once we had what it spit out, we sort of tried to make it a little more uniform, but it gave us, 5 different types of customers. And, the guy that's just quick and needs something real quick. So you just take his order and get off the phone, make a suggestion and get off the phone. You have the guy that's really screwed up. We all love the guy that's in the doghouse. Let's be real here. If you're in the doghouse, you got to go big or go home, right? You got to make it up to her. So we use it, like I said earlier, I use it for creating checklists for my warehouse staff. We've got a whole like checklist system that we've sort of put into place to help hold our warehouse staff accountable to their daily duties throughout the day and throughout the week to make sure that things are getting done, that plants are getting watered, that flowers are getting rotated in the cooler properly. So once again, I keep harping on it, but who you are, flower shop owner, I need a fulfillment manager SOP, context. I give it the roles and duties that it's responsible for, and then the tone. I want it numbered and employee ready. All right, and then leadership and hiring. Oops, sorry. So hiring, obviously, staffing is always an issue for us. In the job market right now, it's all over the place. I feel like a lot of big businesses are holding off on making hires because they think that AI is going to replace these people. And I think that is just the worst mindset to have, that AI can actually replace a human. Like, yes, it's really smart and knows the whole internet and all that, but it's still not a person. You've got to have that personal touch no matter what. So I think where we've used it in leadership and hiring, we've created job descriptions. So take that SOP that you created and you can drop it in and say, I need a detailed job description to put on Indeed.com. Or if you're working with a recruiter, you can get a great job description to give to that recruiter so that they can help you to find the right person. We've had it create 30, 60, and 90-day expectations for new positions that we've hired. And my GM is actually working right now on developing performance reviews for our team. It's performance reviews are one of those things you think, oh, like we're a flower shop, we don't need that. Well, employee engagement's a big deal. In this job market, in this labor market, employee engagement is very important. And a lot of staff, you'll talk to younger staff members and they leave jobs because they feel like they're not a part of the team. They feel like they're not growing. You hear over and over that they're more worried about the impact that they have more than what they make. And it allows you to really be engaged with those employees and to bring them into your team and help them to know what their roles are, what their responsibilities are, and how they can grow in this position. So I think we've used it. So by the way, all of these prompts that I've given you guys are prompts that I've actually used at Norton's to help us develop things. So for a customer service specialist, write me a job description matching a performance scorecard and a matching performance scorecard. The role covers these things. There's a huge list of things that the customer service representative is going to cover. And we're members of Flower Click. So we use the sales prep school for training, and we want it specific, measurable, so that expectations are clear before the person is even hired. So once again, I'm giving it who I am, what I need, the context of what I want, and then the tone and style. I want it specific, measurable, and expectations up front. So AI, what it's doing is it's bringing structure to these people decisions so that you can lead clearly. Like I said, I'm ADHD. I'm all over the place. I wear 12 different hats, and this really helps me to bring things in and stay focused on individuals as they move through their time at Norton's. All right. So now that I've gone through those six use cases, we're going to get into part 3. So I've shown you what AI can do, and now I'm going to show you how to make it good, how to make the output good. So here's a couple of prompts. Now, this generic prompt that I've given you is very generic. I don't think that anybody would really use this prompt, but the point here is if you give it vague information if you put in vague information, you're going to get vague information out. If you say, write me a social media post, you could get information. You could get a social media post for anything in the world. You could be a pool guy or a landscaper. And I think that, like I was saying earlier, I use it every single day in my personal life and in my business life. And I can't tell you how many times I've asked it questions about gardening or my pool in my backyard. I've got algae. What do I do? It could think that I'm a pool guy. So it's going to give me, a social media post to help sell my pool services. But a better prompt here is, I own a flower shop in Birmingham. Who? Write a warm Facebook post promoting summer flowers for busy moms. What? Keep it conversational, not salesy, under 100 words, and end with a soft call to order. So I'm giving it my who, my what, my context, and my tone. So the more specific you can be giving it information, the more specific your responses are going to be. So this is the page that I want everybody to write down. And this is the big takeaway page right here. Once again, I've been harping on it the whole time, but who you are, what you need, context, tone, and style. So I think that, every prompt that I've showed you in the 6 use cases has used these same 4 parts. It's not a coincidence. That's a formula. So, I'm an Excel guy. I like formulas. So this single sentence of who you are, what you need, context, tone, and style is what makes it work every single time. Detail in, quality out. The more specific you are, the better the result. 4 parts every single time. And I use it like for those of you who use it every day, it does get to know you. It starts to know who you are, but it's still important every single time that you're asking it something that you give it the context of the situation that you're asking it for. All right. So like I've said 1,000 times also, it still needs your judgment. So we have a few rules. Right now, there's not really that many people using it in our business other than my GM, Dana, and I. But we have some very strict rules that we do not ever paste private customer information into AI platforms. So if you run a ticket report or if you're running like a customer list or something, either take it before you drop it into AI. I would say take it into Excel and copy and paste the customers' names into a different spreadsheet, and then number those customers 1 through 1,000 or whatever, and then put 1 through 1,000 into the spreadsheet that you're feeding to AI so that you're not giving it people's names. I think names tied to addresses, sympathy details, any complaint specifics, just keep them out, because anything that you wouldn't want the world to know about you, you don't need to give to AI. Sensitive employee data, pay rates, performance issues, personal info, generic policies are fine, but real people are not. You never want to say, so-and-so said this to this customer, right? You can say, I had an employee that made a comment to a customer, but never put, Cameron said that Cameron Pappas, my salesperson, said this to a customer. This is a big one to me. Don't trust the output blindly. I think a lot of, in the Anthropic presentation that I was in, they talked a lot about, always, if you're doing calculations, put in what you want, ask it for what you need, and then make sure that you do the same process that it did on other data so that you make sure that it's not inaccurate, right? You don't want to just blindly trust it. So it can sound really confident when it gives you an answer, but you always need to read it before sending an email, because a lot of emails can't be unsent. And a social media post, once it gets out there, it's out there. And also, don't let it make decisions for you. You're still a human. You're still a human. You still have a brain. You're not dumb. You run a business. So treat it like an assistant, not the boss. It's very easy to get into a mindset of it's the boss, like it tells me everything. But it's just, you got to have that human touch. I highly recommend, I put highly recommended right here. You can go in and adjust your security settings to private. If you don't know how to do that, I didn't want to take the time to explain it on every slide or on all the different platforms. But if you literally ask ChatGPT or Claude or Gemini or Grok, how do I make my information private? It will tell you exactly the settings to go to make your information private. And it'll say something about like, allow us to train on your data, and you don't want it to train on your data. It has plenty of data to learn from. So here's where we can start tomorrow. So number one, I want everybody in the room or everybody on the screen to write a product description tomorrow. I know if y'all have been using it, then you have likely already written product descriptions before with it. That's one of the first things that I did with AI. I blew my mind. I think writing a product description can save you so much time. If you haven't done it, you need to do it. And you can also ask it to give you keywords that help search engines find it, right? Or what is it called? It's SEO and then AEO now. So artificial optimization, whatever that term is. Social media posts. Have it write you 10 social media posts. We've got America 250 coming up. It's a big deal. Let it write you a 10 social media posts to post in the month of June to get ready for the 4th of July. And then lastly, let's draft one tough email. We all make mistakes. We're humans. And I think it's important. A lot of times, if you show a customer empathy, you hear it in any sales training you hear, Huckabee, Flower Click, everybody says, just be empathetic, like show empathy and customers will be more understanding. Make it sound like you and then send the email. And one last thing I want to touch on. Again, AI does not replace the human touch. There's nothing in the world that can replace the passion that we have for what we do. There's nothing in the world that can replace just the amount, what we do to care for our customers. We love our customers. We are very passionate about every single customer. We're thankful for every single customer we have. So AI does not replace the human touch, but it protects the people that are delivering the human touch. So with that said, I cannot believe I got through all that in 44 minutes, and we have an extra minute for questions. So if anybody has any questions, y'all please let them fire, and I'll do my best to answer them. And if not, then I'll be sure to take notes, and I can do some research and get an answer back to you for sure.
Thank you so much, Cameron. That was amazing and excellent information, super useful, that I hope everybody will go back and use those tips tomorrow. We do have one that can kick us off here about asked, how do I keep it sounding like me and not like a robot?
Right. So I think that the more that you talk with it, the more that it's going to learn your personality. It's kind of weird saying that, but it's kind of like somebody you're dating, right? Like the more you get to know them, the better it gets to know you. And I think, like I said, when we talk about the human touch and making sure that you give it that context and tell it what you're looking for, then once it gives you a response, never copy and paste it. Copy and paste it, but then you need to make sure that you're making it more personal, right? Like I just said, it's like nothing can replace the empathy that we have and the appreciation that we have for every single customer that we serve every single day.
Okay, excellent. So just as a reminder, if you do have a question, pop it into the chat and we can ask Cameron. I have one other one. So can AI help me figure out how much to order for Valentine's Day?
It can indeed. So I will say we typically use the Flower Buddy system for that. I'm actually working on the side, like in my free time, I'm working on sort of building something that that helps me to figure out like to plan for everyday buying and stuff. And we use it for Valentine's Day and holiday ordering as well. I think I would start with like a ticket report or a ticket report for the week of Mother's Day or the week of Valentine's Day, drop it in there, and see which SKUs you sold the most of and which price points. And then, you take the human part of that goes in and says, well, is it the design? Is there something unique about the design that was in that price point or the color palette? And that's the one thing that AI isn't going to be able to help you with. And that's where, I mean, it can help you with it, but that's where the ultimate decision comes down to you. So I highly recommend using it to help you plan Valentine's Day.
Right. We have two questions about photos. So what AI agent do you currently use to modify pictures for your website?
Yeah, so I sort of, in the last 10 years, I sort of became self-taught in Photoshop. And I'll tell you now, I haven't opened Photoshop in a long time because we use a platform called Photo Room. I think there's a pro package that might be like $80 a year in Photo Room. And you can literally tell it, you can take a picture of we used to have this big studio, like a setup with perfect lighting and all this. And now we can literally take a picture of an arrangement on a silver rolling cart with whatever we want in the background. And then Photo Room will literally, the first thing it does is removes the background, and we can tell it, put it in a studio setting with a white background and light shadows. And if you don't like it, then it can it'll tweak the background. But I know that Photo Room is a great one. Canva, a lot of the photo editing platforms have got background stuff involved now. But we like Photo Room. Canva's great. Photoshop obviously has all of this built in now, but Photoshop is just so big for what we're using it for. And then, there's other, I think the Google one is called like Nano Banana, I think. It sounds silly, but I have not used it, but I've heard good things about it. And ChatGPT can even edit photos for you now.
Okay. The second question around that too was just also commenting on just how AI generated pictures can sometimes, they have a non-realistic look. Any tips on that?
So I think that typically if I'm generating, and the AI generated images, it's really funny that you asked that question, because a lot of times I'll ask ChatGPT to create an arrangement with a recipe that I give it. And it's like, it can make these incredible photos of anything in the world, but then you ask it to make flowers and it's a very kind of cartoonish, like a high-end cartoon look. So I still think that using your photos, taking a photo on your iPhone or with the camera is the best way to start. And then you can upload it and then ask it to remove the background. But I will say, on AI generated images, I just did a wedding proposal last week, and they wanted a baby's breath thing going across the stage, facade. So I looked up, I went to the venue and I took a picture of where the stage was going to be, and I said, can you add a big baby's breath runner on the front of this stage for this wedding proposal? And it just popped it in there. So, and I think as long as with the AI generated images, because just like we saw Pinterest images from brides that we all griped about for years, now we're seeing AI generated images of blue roses and turquoise roses and all that stuff. And yeah, Jet Fresh and everybody can do that now. They can, color enhance roses, but it's important to let the customer know if you are sharing AI generated images with them for inspiration, let them know this is AI generated. This isn't really what it's going to look like. God made flowers. Every single flower is unique. And unfortunately, God doesn't make very many blue flowers, but there's ways that we can incorporate blue into an arrangement because everybody wants blue and white right now for whatever reason. But I think as long as you sort of issue a disclaimer about the AI generated images, I would not put AI generated images on your website though. Use your phone, take the picture, have Photo Room or another platform clean it up for you.
I have one other question in here, and you may know where this is going. I'm not 100% sure. It says, can we use AI in managing third-party wire services?
Ooh. What, I guess, in what context are you asking that for? Like in...
I asked for some clarification, so I haven't...
Yeah.
Mallory, if you're able to chat, that would be great.
I mean, I think it's definitely possible to, to look at a wire statement, ask it questions about a wire statement. A lot of times it can, wire statements are notorious for being hard to understand. Not FTDs isn't that as hard to understand as others, but it's. I actually uploaded one a few weeks ago, and it said, I can't parse the data from this statement. It was not an FTD statement. And I was like, that's weird. And I sent it to my buddy, and he said, man, I haven't been able to understand one of those statements in 20 years. So I'm glad AI can't either. But yeah, I mean, I think for analyzing a wire statement or even analyzing your sort of the profitability of your wire orders, I think it can definitely help with that because a lot of shops use wire services to help with economies of scale, right? Especially during the summer when we slow down. It might be able to tell you, hey, you've got these flowers on hand, or like, hey, I consistently have this many flowers left over, these flowers, like, how can I utilize more? And it might say, consider taking more wire orders to keep your team efficient, as well as using your flowers and not having as much waste.
Okay. We don't have any other questions, so thank you so much.
There's one here about financial reporting.
Oh, good. Okay, good. I didn't see that one.
So it just, excuse me. So I actually used it recently for financial reporting to help me create my journal entries and help me to just report my sales more timely, get my financial statements into QuickBooks faster. I think that there's lots of use cases with the ability to parse a PDF and just read the data on PDFs faster, summarize your flower costs. Like you can upload your invoices from a wholesaler or invoices from a farm, and you can figure out what you're paying on average for a stem of alstroemeria or a stem of pink roses or whatever. So, and then I think once you have your financial data, once again, be really careful here sharing your financial data, uploading raw financial data, and make sure you have security settings turned on before you do it. But QuickBooks, especially QBO, QuickBooks Online, is introducing lots of AI intelligence that's annoying when you're using it because it pops up constantly and wants you to utilize it. But it can help add value to what you're seeing, and it can just see things in a P&L or a balance sheet that you might not see, that your eyes and brain might not regularly see.
Okay. I think that's officially the last one.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you so much. We want to thank everyone for joining us today. A recording is going to be available on demand. We'll also send this presentation out to you in email. For more educational programmings from FTD, visit FTDI to register for any upcoming free webinars. And you can also view our past programs on demand. So thank you so much. Thank you, Cameron. And we really appreciate you being with us today. Have a great day.
Absolutely. And if anybody has any questions, y'all feel free to email me. I think my email, it's easy, cpappas@nortonsflorist.com. Y'all feel free to email me. I am on vacation right now, but I'll get to them as soon as I can.
Great. Thank you so much, Cameron. Everyone have a great day.
Yeah. Thank y'all.
Bye.
Bye-bye.